It's happening, y'all. Trust me, it's happening.
You know we superior. You know we superior. You know we superior. You know we
Trust me, it's happening. We got our first female guest. It's the first episode of 2023. We got the ultimate hustlers in the building, aka the credit gurus, aka from a prison cell to living well. The one and only Aisha Hall. We got Shawana King in the building. Give it up for that, y'all. What's up, y'all? What's the word, man?
Thank you for having us.
You know what's going on, man. Introduce yourself, man.
Set it off.
I mean, it's Juana. It's your girl Juana got class. Everybody know me as Shawana King now. And I'm here. Thank you for having us.
Wow, it's a pleasure, man. Definitely a
It's
pleasure.
your girl Aisha Hall. Just Aisha from the Veld.
Where you from?
The Veld, Roosevelt.
Oh, Roosevelt. That's L.I.
Roosevelt, LI. All day. every
L.I.
day.
in the building, man.
Right.
And where you from, Juana?
I'm from Brooklyn,
Got Brooklyn. You got
yes.
Brooklyn in the building, yeah.
East New York.
East New York in the building, yeah. We heavy here.
East
We-
Beyond.
We heavy. We heavy here. Hey, yo, so for those that don't know, how did y'all two meet each other? How long y'all been friends and shit like that?
So we met actually in the feds.
Wow.
And we've been friends now for what? And like 15 years, something like
Mhm.
that.
15 years, that's
15
tough.
years.
Yeah, we've been friends for about 15 years. I met her when I was actually 18 years old, walking into the federal prison.
Mm.
And she was pretty much the first person I saw because her ass, she
Yeah.
had all the girls behind her and they was like, fresh meat. And I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Fresh meat, what that mean? Like,
So it's
yeah,
like- it's
tell them
like-
what that means.
It's like a joke, right? So when I came in, that's what they did to me.
yeah.
It was like, fresh meat, put on my bunk. Let me eat that ass over here. I'm like, yo, hold the fuck up. So then they was like, no, we just playing.
Yeah.
But at first I was like, oh, it's about to go down, So after I got acclimated, she comes in. So, now I'm one of the people that's there. So I'm like, fresh meat when she walks in.
Yeah, and I'm young as shit, but I'm from Brooklyn, so I
Yeah.
still had to hold it down. I was
Yeah.
like, who the fuck y'all talking
Yeah.
to? Like, what?
Yeah. You definitely gotta hold it down, man. Cause them bitches will definitely try you. No
Yeah.
funny shit.
Nah, they definitely will.
So
but-
y'all both did time in the feds.
Mhm.
What? So when you say what's this, like MDC or
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
so we met in MDC Brooklyn,
okay?
and then we both ended up going to Alderson. But we were in I was in MDC Brooklyn for like 2 years. So
Okay.
Right, I was in MDC Brooklyn for about 7 months, and then I got sentenced, and they moved me to Alderson. I actually went to Alderson before her, laid everything down, so when she came to Alderson, she was straight.
It was already lit. It was
Yeah,
already,
it was already
red,
lit.
red,
I walked in,
red
they were
carpet when she
Oh,
went
you
in.
good? I had the robe. You gotta wait to get your condom.
Oh yeah, oh
She had
fire,
it all
Job
laid
laid down.
down.
I'm like, listen, this is where you gonna work.
fire.
Yeah.
So just back just for because I don't know your story, and I'm quite sure everybody watching, a lot of people don't know. So just to rewind it a little bit. So at the age of what you went to the feds,
So
for what?
I was 24, and I went to the feds for conspiracy, commit wire fraud.
Mhm.
I was, running a company. I was making a lot of money.
More than a lot of money.
What kind of company you was running?
Making a lot of motherfucking money.
so you owned the company and
So what my company did was we had basically the game on lock when it came to commodities.
right.
So we were like corporate thugging. So everybody who worked for me was like, from the hood. And I basically trained them how to do commodity trading. So it was some requirements that you had to be worth 100 million, 50 million, 80 million,
Mm.
crazy numbers
Yeah.
that people like us aren't worth. So once I figured out there was a way to make people look like they were worth that amount, then they could actually go in and trade with their own money. And I would charge them, 50,000, 100,000. So we ended up in less than a year making like a little over $10 million. You
Mm.
know what I mean? So we got in trouble for basically the falsified documents. That was the main thing.
Right.
But as far as the trading went, a lot of the trades were all legitimate. But in order to qualify, you had to have this crazy net worth that unless you born into money or you're white and privileged.
Wasn't
You don't-
realistic.
It's
Yeah.
just not realistic.
Yeah.
So it's a world that we were blocked from.
Right.
So I'm
sorry
like,
to cut you. Can you explain that, Boo? Because when you explained it before on a base level, where people understand it more, like, remember when you explained it about like the Jordans, like,
oh yeah,
explain it like that, just in
Okay,
case
okay.
somebody don't understand that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah,
See,
because
this is why I got my
that
partner
was
in
my
crime
next
right here.
that was my next question, like to elaborate on the whole trading thing. Like, so
All right.
if I was to walk inside of your company and I wanted to, and I said maybe, and I had like maybe 100,000,
Right.
and I said I wanted to, I was interested in trading.
Mhm.
They would tell me, well, you don't have enough in your account, right?
Yeah, so basically most of the clients that came to me already had their trade going. They got the qualifications and they realized they couldn't qualify. So I'll give you an example.
Yeah. So for those that's not familiar with trading, what is
So I'm
trading?
breaking down. So trading is basically buying and selling. That's all
Okay.
it is, you know.
So, supply and demand.
Yes, buying and selling.
Yeah.
But in this particular world, for example, imagine you get there's a new pair of Jordans that comes out and they're
Right.
worth $10,000 and it's a line around the corner. Everybody wants them. You get to the door and they're like, "How much money you got?" And you're like, "Shit, I got 20,000." And they're like, "That's not enough." And you're like, "What you mean? The sneakers only cost 10,000."
Right.
And they say, "We only letting people in here who are worth 100 million or more." But I'm only coming to spend 10,000.
Right.
Sorry, if you're not worth 100 million, you can't come in here. So you step off to the side and you watch Billy Joe come up, and they're like, "How much you worth?" 100 million. Come on in. So it's like they only going to spend 10,000 as well.
Right.
But because you don't have the net worth, you're not allowed in. So
That's crazy.
Very crazy.
That's
and that's
crazy.
how
So
they keep
crazy.
wealth.
I was
you
getting ready to
know.
say, what's the whole point of that? Like, how is that?
Keeping wealth, in a pyramid. At the top of a pyramid is very small. There's a small amount. Keeping the wealth with the 1%, And at the base of the pyramid is wide. That's where everybody's at.
Right.
So as you climb up, there's less and less people. And that's basically how you control wealth. When you only allow certain types of people and certain groups of people to get in, because having that level of a net worth is
Right.
something that people of color really don't have access to. So, it's just a way of filtering the market.
Wow.
But anyway, so when I realized that you didn't have to actually have the money, you only had to look like it.
When did you realize that though? How did you figure that out? Like, yo, they not really.
The trade requirements. So
Okay.
when you ready to trade, they give you a list of requirements. Like kind of when you buy in a house and you get mortgage stipulations,
Right.
you get trade stipulations. And those stipulations are your net worth. You need to show it. But obviously, if you're allowed to come in and buy, say it's oil, or
Mhm.
say you're buying rubber or barley or wood, whatever commodity you're buying, if you're allowed to use your own money and they telling you that the minimum buy-in is 10,000, but the net worth is a minimum of 100 million, you realize that they're not having to spend 100 million. They just need
Right.
to look like it.
They just gotta look okay.
So my brain starts turning. So I'm like, oh, okay, I can help people look like it, and then they get in and spend their own money. So I put a couple banks together that I had control over what the response would be when they called the banks to verify the info and all of that.
Oh, so you had the banks involved in all
Yeah,
that.
so it was pretty elaborate.
Yeah.
Real structured.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah,
it
real
was very,
strategic,
very
yeah.
structured.
Yeah.
But at the same time, in my mind at that time, I'm thinking like, well, I'm not stealing no money. I'm not taking from nobody. I'm
Right.
just giving people an entry ticket to walk into the store.
And how much time did they give you for that?
10.5 years.
10.5 years is for just what? Like forging documents, not taking.
Nah, no, not taking no money, nothing. But it was 10.5 years for conspiracy to commit wire fraud. So basically, they said that I gave these people falsified documents, which I did because they weren't really worth the 100 million, the 50 million. They might have been worth 2 or 3,
Right.
but they wanted to just have an equal opportunity to go in and trade. And I felt like, well, if you have the money, why your money is not as good as their money? Y'all spending the same amount, but
Right.
because you don't have the net worth, you're not allowed. So I was like, okay, I need 100 grand and I get you in that trade, So just imagine I'm doing deals where the minimum I'm taking is 30, 40, 50,000, and
Yeah.
sometimes I would get $1 million. I had some deals where the fee was $1 million, where the trade requirements was 500 million to get into the trade.
So you'll make somebody look like they got
Right.
500 M's, and then
500
in
M's.
return they had to give you $1 million.
They gave me that up front.
They had to give you $1 million up front,
They had to give me that up
regardless
front.
of how.
Regardless, because I'm giving you this documentation. What you do with it That's on
Yeah.
you. I'm not gonna get paid. I didn't do back end. I did front end pay
Yeah.
because I can't guarantee the back end. I don't know if the deal gonna go through. I
Right.
don't know if it's gonna be successful. I don't know if you might want the information to impress a chick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm worth 500 million. That's not my problem.
Right.
I'm giving you what you need, and you're gonna pay me up front. You know, so that's how that works. So I was able to make a lot of money very, very fast.
Wow, that's interesting, yo.
Yeah,
10 years for nobody's a victim. You ain't take from nobody, nothing. Like,
nothing. Nobody's a victim. Nothing. But it was more so about the documentation
mm-hmm.
had false information on some of them. If I decided that I'm gonna take you to the bank with me and add you to my bank account, and I'm worth 100 million, and you go use the paperwork to do whatever, that's legal. That's how
Right.
I started. But then I had clients that didn't like that process. It took too long. Like, oh, you got to add me to the bank account. We got to go through this compliance. I'm gonna lose this deal.
Yeah.
Just give me the paperwork. I was like, all right, well, pay me. I got you.
So how did you get caught? Like, how?
A rat.
Somebody that you
Not
helped.
somebody. His name is Eddie Gordon. He wore a wire.
Name drop it.
Yeah, of course, because it's like
He already on all the documents, paperwork, all that
yeah,
shit.
it's there,
Yeah.
Like even the show when I did American Gangster, they wanted to put him in the show, and I said absolutely not. I'm not giving nobody a platform that's a rat.
Right.
So, I almost can respect. I'm not built to do this time. I'm telling. You know what? That's you. Cool. That's not me, but that's you. Cool.
Yeah.
But when you actually come in with a wire, with recording devices,
Out of pocket.
now that's going to another level.
Out of
You know what I
pocket,
mean?
yeah.
If he just told and was like, this was what I did, this was she asked me to do,
Yeah.
this was, then okay, whatever. I got to eat that because that's a chance you take when you do business with people, right?
Yeah.
But especially a square because he's not a street nigga,
Right.
So, okay. But when you go to the next level and you're willing to work, now we have a problem. And I actually spoke about it on the phone. I actually got a charge because they hit me with conspiracy to commit wire fraud, obstruction of justice, and witness tampering. Because then he start, I don't know what he said or why. I really don't even understand the charge, but I guess there was some feelings of being threatened, or I don't know. But they ended up charging me with that as well. I ended up taking a plea, and I copped out to conspiracy and obstruction.
Like, so telling is telling though. So you feel like it's levels to betrayal? You feel like he betrayed
no,
you
I
when he
don't-
wore the what? Because I feel like he betrayed you once he even told.
No, he did, but you can't tell somebody what to say about their participation in something. I don't think it's right. I wouldn't do it.
Right.
But if he decides that he wanted to tell what he did, he can't tell what he did without telling what I did because he did what he did because I asked him to get involved. I'm just saying, if he had done just that, that's bad enough.
Yeah.
But I would have been like, all right, he's a square. This is what they do.
Right.
But the fact that you was willing to work, that to me took it to a whole other level. Like I actually really like called off the dogs on that. Like, you know what I mean? Because it really got that serious.
So where did you get your like integrity and shit from? Like, was that
Oh, my pops,
like no telling, none of
my
that?
father, 100%.
Yeah, and your father's was like a big influence out there in Long Island, right?
Yeah, shout out to my dad, Prince Colin. He was born in Jamaica, came here when he was really young,
Yeah.
and he's just started hustling, to take care of himself. He was a young dad.
Yeah.
I was his firstborn. I see my father go through a lot of stuff. He got shot, and almost killed. He's been to prison several times, but he always, when I was with my dad, whenever we ran into people,
Yeah.
it was always like, yo, thanks, Prince, for putting me on. Yo, thanks for putting me on. And I just wanted to be like admired like that. Like I wanted to be the person that put people on, And my father ended up getting killed when I was away. But he taught me everything about hustling, about staying, all the way solid, no matter what. If I do something, I'm taking full responsibility for my actions. I'm not like, well, he did and she said. And, it actually, people like that to me are like really like the lowest people on earth. You know what I mean? Like, why are you getting involved in something?
Yeah.
If I was able to get away and you got jammed up, you know what I mean? Like, stand up and accept what happened. Why you got to come bring me down?
Right.
It's like, It's just and really after being away for so long, I realized that 90% of the people in there is because somebody told.
Somebody
It's
told
not
on
because
them.
the police have some
Yeah.
elaborate investigative systems. You know, they got their little shit, but the people telling is really where, you know, they're able to get so many people. That's where mass incarceration, that's the base of it. It's
Yeah.
telling. So it's really a bad thing, you know.
So you got locked up. Did you ever get the bail out, or you just from MDC you went
From
straight there?
MDC, and once I went in, that was it.
It was over.
It was over.
And you went to the feds at what age?
I went to the feds when I was 18 years old.
Okay. For what?
Yeah.
Why
So
you probably like the youngest joint in the feds, huh?
that's what they say. Yeah, I definitely was. I was
And
the
what
youngest one in there.
and what they locked you up for?
Fraud. Well, my actual charge was credit card fraud.
Hmm.
And I was 18 years old. I caught my first charge. Went to MDC. When I went to MDC, I was there for about, I want to say 3-4 months, and then I bailed out. I bailed out. Remember? So when I bailed out, I went home. Basically, was doing the same shit. You know, I'm young. I'm
Yeah.
18 years old.
Yeah.
You know, doing the same shit. Got caught again. Went right back in.
What made you start messing with the credit cards and shit, like being in the streets?
You know what's crazy? Like, okay, first of all, I'm from Brooklyn, so
Yeah.
everything is fast living in Brooklyn. You see people like, I see my father, he was hustling, you know, he would give me $500 every week. You know what I mean? I see young
He was giving you $500 allowance every week.
every week. He was a hustler.
Wow.
He was a hustler. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that was nothing to him.
Yeah.
You know, my uncles, my aunts. My aunt dealt with the notorious drug dealer. Like, so she had the most, she had the best of the best,
Yeah.
so I seen this growing up. So for me, it was really nothing. It was like what I was supposed to have. One way, like it didn't matter how I got it. I'm like, I'm gonna get it,
Right.
and then when my father stopped hustling, like he's like, listen, I can't do this no more because I don't want to leave my children.
Right.
So he completely got out the game. Like he just stopped, and he started a trucking company. He started doing legit stuff, and
Yeah.
that money wasn't coming in no more. So I basically had to do what I had to do. So it's so crazy because I have an aunt, and her name is Michelle.
Mhm.
She actually was in Danbury. She did 5 years in Danbury. She wrote a book called Charge It to the Game, right? So I read the book. In the book, she's not explaining exactly how it worked or what to do when it comes
Yeah.
to fraud, but that's basically where the idea came from. So
Wow.
I'm like, yo, my aunt was getting money. She wasn't a drug dealer, but from the things that she was doing, like the material stuff she was getting in the book, I was like, damn, I could do that. That's literally how I started.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and she don't even know that. Like I never even expressed that
She
to
know
her.
now.
She know now.
She gonna watch my chain of thought. She know now.
She definitely
Damn,
do.
I never heard nobody say no shit like that. Usually, like we see somebody doing something or somebody in our family doing something, we be like, yo, hold on, I could do that right there. Like, oh,
Yo,
that's
I
making this
read her
person
book.
money. Like, that's
Mhm.
how I started hustling. I seen my brother do it. I'm like, oh, I could do that.
Right.
Whoa.
So I read the book and I'm like, so at this time, I told my ex, I'm like, yo, my aunt was getting, and I know, personally, like she
Yeah.
drive Benz, she got a chain of salons, like
Yeah.
she really get money, Birkin bags, jewelry, so I'm like, let's do this. I started doing my research online, and that's when it all started.
Wow. That's crazy. That's a crazy startup right there, man. So like, with that being said, I know you said your pops was spoiling you and stuff, right? You have kids? I'm not
Yes.
sure if you
Yes.
do. All right, so your pops is spoiling you. So when it stops, you got to get it by any means necessary. Now that you're a parent, like, how do you find that balance? So say like, everybody want to spoil their kids and get their kids the best of the best, but God forbid, maybe you can't get them what they're used to, and she feel like or he feel like they got to go out and get it on their own. How do you find that balance, or like is it a conversation you have with your kid, or is it influence? You understand what I'm saying?
It's so crazy. I think about that every day because I'm not gonna lie, like I sit there and literally give my kid whatever she want, you know, but I put in my head that I'm never gonna have to go through that. You know what I mean? Like I'm never not gonna have to give to her.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm gonna make sure I build up what it is I need to build up for her when she like it's like in my head, and I'm gonna make sure that comes to existence. But you're right. Because I've gone through it, and I don't want to ever be in that position not to be able to give her. And I think right now I do spoil her. I think I give her more than probably what she deserved at a young age. She's only 4, and it's so crazy because I just said this Christmas, I'm like, damn, I don't even know what to buy her. I feel like I bought her all this same stuff when she was 3, when she was 2. You know what I mean? So, that's definitely it's true. Like we do gotta kind of slow it down just in case. Especially being a entrepreneur, being a business owner. Business is up and down.
Right, absolutely.
No business owner could tell you that it's always good.
Right.
You got ups and you got downs. So absolutely.
Do you think so do you think being at your pops, you said your aunt was fucking with the credit cards and your pops was hustling. What if they was entrepreneurs at the time? Do you think you would have followed in those footsteps?
Yes, absolutely. I think you're definitely influenced by whatever you're around. You know what I mean? That's why I try my best to keep my kid around certain individuals, certain kids, because I'm like, I don't want her to be influenced by, even like when it comes to TikTok and like Instagram and like these kids are scrolling. Like I see my nonstop. She's 4.
Yeah.
She's scrolling and scrolling, and it's like they be mesmerized by the it's crazy for hours and hours of scrolling. So I definitely think that has a huge impact on like the surroundings. Like when I came home from prison, I told myself, I'm like, yo, I'm not gonna be around the same people because I'm gonna lead myself back into prison. Like I'm not saying that I'm not gonna mess with them, but I'm gonna mess with them with a long handle spoon, from a distance, because I can't go through this again. Like I don't want to put myself back in the same situation and start all over again. Now, like I can't do that. So definitely, like your influence is definitely a big impact.
Yeah, I asked that because times is changing. So maybe like God forbid you can't give her what she want, but she see what you doing. Like, oh, mommy's a entrepreneur. She see you busting her.
Right.
And she like, now I could take over. Now I could run a business. She feel like she could run a business. So she won't turn to the street. So I definitely think that's a major role. Like you kids pay attention, watch everything.
Right. Like, Aisha and I talk about like, like the white family, like they'll have their talks at dinner about trading, and then their kids would grow up knowing about trading. Like my daughter right now, she's 4. She talks about credit repair. We be on live and she'll be like, yeah, I gotta fix your credit. Your credit is broken. If you don't fix your credit, you're not gonna be able to buy your kids no toys. Like, just from her hearing Aisha and I talk about credit.
Fire. That's
and
dope.
how like she talks about it right now. So
that's dope.
You definitely gotta watch what you do and what you say around your children, because they're like sponges.
That's a fact.
And me being a first time mom, like I'm still learning. You know what I mean?
Ain't no manual on that,
no
right?
manual. Nobody didn't tell me what I have to do. I'm like, it's like naturally as a woman, naturally you pick up on things, but I'm still learning. I'm like, certain things I'm like, damn, I shouldn't have did that because this happened, know? But it's like, you're still learning.
That's a fact. So what Warner just said, as far as like us being where we come from and we not really used to certain shit, or we haven't been yet introduced to certain things because of our environment. How did you get involved in the whole trading thing? Like, how does a girl from Long Island get to Wall Street, get to have run a company in Wall Street? Like,
I always have been the girl who was cool, but I wasn't scared to be smart. Like some people look at being smart as being corny, and that's something that, like, with our culture, that's a big problem.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I always was pushed, like my pops, my mom's too, my grandparents. I had a good, strong foundation about how important it is, like education-wise.
Yeah.
So when you have that, and then you have a father who gets money like that, the combination was dope. So okay, my intellect is being, really built up. and then my drive for money is also being built up. So when you put those two things together,
Best of both
you
worlds.
know,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
So I always wanted to be in sales. I always wanted to control my money. You know, I had a couple of jobs in the mortgage industry when I was really young. I was like a telemarketer, but I was never satisfied. You know, I worked at Jones Beach, and I used to hustle beer to the bikers because they could only get 2 beers
Yeah.
per day. So I would like fill up the Coca-Cola cups with beer and stash them.
I
And when they
never
come,
heard that story.
Yeah.
I never
And
told
I
you
know
that.
everything.
Ultimate
Yo,
hustlers. This is what I'm trying to
She
tell
never
y'all.
told
We
me
got
that.
the ultimate hustlers in the building right
I
now,
was,
man.
I was like 14, 15.
Shit is getting juicy.
I was like 14, and what happened is, they would come, and I would like, you know, like I know
Yeah.
y'all can only get 2, but if y'all want like 5 or 6 beers, you know what
Right.
I mean? Just give me like $60 or whatever,
Mm.
and I'll pass it to you like it's soda, you know. So I had that, and you know, my whole check for the week back then, what was minimum wage, like $5.25 or $4.75 or something like that. So you know, I'm getting everything that I got for the week in 5 minutes. So I
Yeah.
started understanding money, that when you control the dynamics, you control the money. So I started thinking of other ways to do that. You know, I had a little like penny saver where I would go
Yeah.
and collect business cards and print them and put them in like a booklet, and I would charge businesses $30, $40, $50 to print it. The more cards they gave me, or the bigger they wanted it in the booklet, the more they paid.
Yeah.
You know, and I would charge them, and I'm like, okay, the more stores I walk in, the more odds I have of actually getting this person to pay me. So I started correlating the work matching the bread.
At what age you talking?
I was a teenager. I was like 16,
Okay.
you know. And then by the time I was 18, I was telemarketing for a mortgage company, and they was paying me $25 every time somebody gave me their social security number over the phone, because that meant that they could run the credit, and it,
Yeah.
it really like made the lead from a warm lead to a hot lead.
Yeah.
So one day I was leaving, and the girl that was with me, I was like, who these dudes? Young dudes, 21, 22, pulled up, you know, in all kinds of Mercedes and BMWs, and they was young. They was like, oh, those are the loan officers. And I'm like, what do they do?
Yeah.
That's the people who paying you to get this information.
Yeah.
They make, you know, commission. I said, I want to do that.
Yeah.
So I went home, looked in the newspaper, and applied for a job doing that. And I got hired, and I didn't know nothing, but I learned the game. And I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. You know, where the checks is
Yeah.
not no
Yeah.
$700-800
Yeah.
a week. I'm talking, you know, $15,000-20,000 checks, because
Mhm.
you're getting commission, you know, from mortgage deals. And how I got into the trade game is, once I got like became a vet in the mortgage game, I branched off and started doing my own underwriting, you know, working for companies processing their loans. And a guy called me and said, I need to take out a couple $1,000,000 cash. And I'm like, okay, he had the equity, but I couldn't find a bank that would give him this amount of money.
Yeah.
I said, well, why do you need so much? Take like a $500,000 or whatever, because you got
Yeah.
the equity. He said, I'm doing private placement trading, or private placement platforms, PPPs, not the PPP they doing now. All right, a different type of PPP, you know.
Mhm.
So I was like, well, how does that work? So he was like, you know, I'm going to use my money to trade, and I'm like, well, break it down. And I'm asking him all these questions, and he's telling me. So it made me get curious, and
Yeah.
that's how I ended up getting into the trade game. So basically, the mortgage game was like the gateway drug. You know what I mean? It
yeah.
was my introduction to, because people fill out mortgage applications and when you put their income, I'm like, who makes $700,000 a year? What
Yeah.
are you doing?
Yeah.
You put in that you make $850,000 a year. What are you doing? Oh, your net worth is $1.5 million. These are jobs and, you know, occupations that we didn't learn about in school, and I'm seeing for the first time. So it opened my mind to, it's a different world out there.
Yeah.
So that's how I really got into it.
That's dope, man. That's fire. Damn, so how that felt though, seeing all that money like so young, like playing with all that money so young like that, like.
It fucked me up, you know, because I'm gonna be honest. My concept of what's free, like having freedom,
Yeah.
is having unlimited bread. I was able to go in the store, buy whatever I wanted. I didn't even look at price tags. You know what I mean? Like, I used to wear suits to my office,
Yeah.
nice Escada suits. You know, some of them $3,000-4,000. I go, I try it on. You know, they come, they would do alterations on the spot sometimes. I didn't ask no prices. I didn't ask what the cost was. You know, only time I knew it was crazy is if my card declined, I had to call my bank and have them basically up my limit of what I
Yeah.
could use. That's how I would know it was a lie. I didn't care. It's real freedom when money is not an object. So now that I've been exposed to that, now that I've tasted what that feels like,
Yeah.
During that time, everybody was complaining about gas prices.
What year was this?
This is back in 2008.
Oh, Obama, yeah.
Right before Obama
Right before.
got elected.
Okay.
And it was like, everybody's complaining, but I can't relate. I had nothing to complain about. Bills is paid automatically. I remember one time I went to the bank and they wouldn't. I went to the store and they wouldn't take. This particular store didn't take cards. I had to go to the ATM. So they had one of those little cheesy ATMs on the wall.
Yeah.
So I put my card in, to get my cash out. And I remember when it came out, it said my balance was $999,000. So I'm like, hold up, I got way more money than this. But I realized that the printer it was a little, so the machine was so small and the receipt was so skinny, it wasn't wide enough to print my balance. You know what I mean? I said,
Wow.
bitch, you balling.
Wow. Most money you ever seen in your account?
The most I ever seen in my account was like 7 million at one time.
7 M's.
Because you had money
7
going
M.
in and out,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So I made about like 10.5 million. But at one time I had like 7 M's.
I was watching the interview. You said they was calling you. I forgot what they used to call you. They said they gave you a year for every $1 million you took.
Mm-hmm. But it's like crazy, and I always make sure that I make it very clear. I never took no bread. I was paid by my clients.
Yeah.
Yo, Ish, I need this. What's the cost? So
And
it was
they
fair
knew
exchange, no
robbery.
Right.
They knew what was going on. It's not like you was doing some underhand shit. The only
They was
people
more crooked than you.
did they go down?
Nah, they didn't go down. They was actually listed as victims. You know?
Wow.
Crazy.
Because in the feds, you can't have somebody with a fraud case without a victim. How's it fraud if you don't have a victim?
Right.
So in order for the feds to make the case stick, they had to put me as, a perpetrator of fraud.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're fraud, you have to have victims. They gave me 50 victims or more. So I said, where are my victims at?
Right.
I know if somebody try to get over on me, I'm banging down the door. I'm trying to get my money back. I didn't have any of that, So I'm like, where are these people? But I could only go so far because, I didn't want to see my clients get in trouble. So it's like, damn, like they're not victims. But how far can I push that without them? So it was a very thin line, And a lot of my clients, some of them had the bread and they didn't want to use their own bread. They wanted to use the proof of funds coming from me because they didn't want, their account numbers out there. These are, I dealt with some very, very wealthy people, some billionaires, and everybody didn't want their information just out there.
Right.
So some people wanted to use the proof of funds instead of using it. Whatever their reason was, it wasn't my business. You pay me for a service, I provide the service, and then we keep it pushing.
Right.
And I didn't steal nothing from you. You didn't steal nothing from me. You didn't steal nothing from the bank. So I'm looking at it like...
So you feel like that 10 years was pretty harsh, for real?
You know what? Yes and no. It was hard because while I was away,
No, harsh.
Oh, harsh. I thought you said hard. Hell yeah, it was harsh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was harsh. It was definitely, I was over sentenced. I knew if I had been white, I wouldn't have got sentenced like that, like for sure. And I know that for a fact because I met actually Bernie Madoff's assistant, and you talking about billions of dollars. I also met someone who worked for Raj. He was an inside trader, like he got like 11 years or something. I met somebody that worked for him. None of these people got more than 2 years. None of them.
So going back to what you were saying as far as like them trying to keep like the wealthy with the wealthy, do you feel like that was part of the reason why they sentenced you so extreme? Because you was letting people in that they felt like wasn't deserving.
Absolutely, 100%. My judge, John Gleason, is known. People were like, "Oh, you got John Gleason. You're gonna be good. He's a fair judge." A lot of people with drug cases really like him. He has a good reputation for realizing that drugs is an epidemic. That's not our fault.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. But what I realized early on is that you'll have people in those positions that feel bad for blacks because of drugs. But then when you step into their world with trading and Wall Street and things like that, it's like, hold on, little niggerette.
Yeah.
This
you don't
ain't your
belong
lane.
here.
You don't belong here.
Yeah.
So the
Crazy.
judgment is different. It's like you're not welcome over here, you know. So I definitely felt that, you know, here I am, I'm coming in, I'm a big trader, and my whole staff is black. You know, paydays for them was different. You're talking about 10, 15,000 every Friday. You know,
for every last single one of your employees.
everybody. I mean, for everybody who did like the sales, and then of course I had my assistant secretary type work, but she still was good. She still was getting $3,000-4,000 a week, because I might give her 2,500, but they gonna bless her, like, you know, they tipping her, you know, whatever. Everybody was eating. Everybody. We had company cars, we had Range Rovers, we had everything. Like, we pulled up in fleets. We flew out of town. You know, Bentley, Rolls, they come into the airport to pick us up. Like, we moved, like, you know, we was a real wealth conglomerate, you know, and I don't think they liked that. I think that we represented what I think the powers that be fear the most, which is us understanding how money really, really works. You know what I mean? And that's not something that
they want us to know.
They want, no, because they profit so much from our ignorance of money. And once we understand how money really works, then we have a lot more control, and it levels out the playing field. Like, I even realized in prison, I would always question why people with drug cases get so much time. And then I finally figured it out. I said, drugs is the fastest way that the black man or Latino man, or really the black man though, can be on an even playing field with wealthy whites. Because a dude could come home with nothing, make a call, 10, 20, 30 bricks, and in a couple of weeks, be sitting on a couple M's. What other business do we have as poor people where that can happen? Really nothing. You know, so when there's a business that puts you on a even playing field financially with your oppressor,
they don't like
they
that.
gotta really go hard. Because why we get more time for drugs than rape? Why we get more time for drugs than murder? Why? What's the dynamic? Why is this is finances? You know, and they want to discourage us. Imagine if everybody right now, well, I know the game is kind of crazy right now. It's kind of, I know I pay attention to stuff. But imagine when numbers was up, if all the dudes that was up came together, what could they do? You talking about billions of dollars of buying power. You know what I mean? So you got to put people away for 30, 40, 50 years, because now you're eliminating, you know, the people who you control from being able to control you or being on even playing field.
You said you bailed out, right? I'm sorry. You bailed out. How long did they sentence you to?
So when I bailed out, you said when I went back in, or just?
Yeah, no, the first.
You know, it's a couple
oh,
times.
it was a couple times? How many bills you did?
I was crazy. I was out there, but so I mean,
you wasn't crazy. You just had that.
Yeah,
I just,
you know, I was hustling, and so my first bid was 16 months.
Okay.
And then I did 2 years, and then I got violated and did 10 months. So I did a combination of 5 years.
All right.
Total.
And when did you say, like, yo, this is it? Like, that was the last?
The 2 years.
Okay.
So my last bid was 2 years.
All right.
After that, I was like, it's over. I can't do this no more. But you know what really changed me was when I met my daughter's father. That's who I'm with right now. He basically, he helped me. Like, I ain't gonna front. Me and my ex, we was just, we didn't care. We was just like, let's get to this money, and you know, and I was a ride or die. You know, I'm still a ride or die. You know, but it's like, it's with my daughter's father now. You know, it's a balance. You know, he know how to, like, sit your ass down.
Yeah, he could tame you.
Yeah, he could, like, sit down and, you know, relax. You know, so it's definitely that's basically.
So he did the bid
helped.
with you, or you met him after?
So it's crazy because I met him like a couple months before, and he held me down for the full 2 years. Never missed a visit.
Oh yeah, that's rare.
Yeah, you know, we basically met in prison, kind of, you know, because we got to know each other while I was in there, you know, and I'm still with him now. It's been about 6 years since 2015.
Wow, that's fire.
You know,
give it up for that too, y'all. 6 years, man. He held it down, man. That's legendary. That's you don't see a lot of that with females. Females get locked up, niggas forget about them. I think, like, do you feel like women being incarcerated gets, like, overlooked?
Yeah,
or
you know,
underplayed? Like, people don't it's not really a lot of empathy for women that's away from their kids and the reason why women get in trouble in the first place.
No, yeah, absolutely. Being incarcerated, the men, their visiting room used to be packed.
Yeah.
The females, you see a couple people on a visit, and especially a lot of times it's their family, the mom or the
That's how we
father.
got close.
Yeah.
It was me and her and Irina, like a few other people on the visit. So
Why-
it was
why
one
did-
big visit.
Why do y'all think that? Why y'all think it's like that though? Like, why is it like that? Like, why is it? Why women get like so little support?
I just think that naturally, as a woman,
Mhm.
you just naturally want to you go in mother mode. Even if it's your husband, your
Okay.
man, you just naturally want to just hold them down. It's just in our nature. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the men, it's not like that. You got some men that will probably hold you down financially, but they won't be there physically with you. They're not going to make them visits. They
Right.
may not send you no letters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I ain't going to front. Like him, he held me down.
That's
And then,
fine.
he was in prison. So he's like, yo, it was a
He
couple
know-
people that didn't hold me down. I want to know what the fuck was the problem. Like, why they couldn't hold me down? Let me do this bit and see how
Yeah.
hard it really was.
Yeah.
And he's like, yo, it's not nothing. Like,
Yeah.
2 years, that's really not, it's not no time. You
Right.
know what I mean? So he ain't missed a visit, not once.
The Pink Panthers. What's that about? Both of y'all part of the Pink Panthers or just you?
No, we both.
Well, so, was it not? What is that about? Like, what's the Pink
So,
Panthers?
like,
Pink.
the pink.
So the Pink Panthers, it was started by Jamila. I met Jamila Davis when I
Shout
was
out
in.
Jamila too. We gotta get her on the show.
Yeah, she's dope. I met
Yeah.
Jamila when I was in Danbury. And when I first met Jamila, I was like, yo, you remind me of my best friend. Like, I think y'all be dope together.
Yeah.
That's just how I am. When I see two dope people that I think could collab and I'm like, yo, I think you got to meet my friend. She was like, really? So she wound up going to the same prison as Aisha.
Mhm.
And I connected them. And she kept saying that she want to start, Pink Panther. We all get together. When we come home, we basically make a change,
Right.
mass incarceration and just everything that was going on in the prison system. We just wanted to make some noise because it was nobody doing that.
Right.
And it was great. It was definitely a great thing in the beginning. If you want to express a little bit more, because you was there with
sure.
her.
Absolutely. So yeah, Miller came to Alderson, and me and her really built it up. She had said that she had discussed starting that already with Sunny Money Queens. So they had kind of started working on that at Danbury, and then when she transferred to Alderson, we kind of put the final touches on it. And it went really, really, really well. It was really dope. It was a big, big movement. The problem came later when, upon release, I don't know, like, in prison, you do everything together.
Right.
You go to eat together.
Right.
Then you shit, you shower, you cry, you everything. You do, you walk the yard. And when we came home, the goal was to really, go hard with mass incarceration. But
Yeah.
reality sank in real quick that we got to make some money.
Right.
So even though we wanted to help the world, change the world, we had to eat. So everybody kind of went their separate way to kind of get their bag up, And that's kind of, and then once we went our separate ways to get our bags up, because we're all so intense, the things that we were doing took all of our time and energy, and we kind of just all kind of stayed focused on what it is we were doing. But the movement still was very impactful, and we all like do pretty much the same thing as far as going out. We all speak. We all do public speaking.
Fire.
We have our book that we did as a conglomerate. That one was me and Jamila and Sunshine. We put the Pink Panther Click book out. We do have part 2. Everybody's like, when it's going to come out? When they have some time to finally slow down, maybe we'll put part 2 out. But it's all love.
So
and, we
what's
all
the name
like
of the
just
book?
Pink Panther Click.
Fire. And I was watching the interview. It said you wrote 10 books while you was in what?
13.
13
actually.
books while you was locked up.
Yeah.
And then you wrote how many out here?
When I came home, I really didn't write too many, but I think I wrote Larry. I wrote like maybe 2 more books, but almost every book that I wrote, I'm sitting for 10 years, so I just wrote the whole time. Some of them I published when I came home, but most of them I published when I was away too.
Where you found that that passion, that love for writing, or you always been?
I always loved writing. I'm an artist. So,
Okay.
I've been doing music since I was a little kid because my father was an artist. He was a reggae artist. He ran around with Public Enemy, and I was exposed to music young. So I've always been a writer. But when I got to prison, I saw everybody passing around the Thug series.
Yeah.
And the bitch
Thugs and the
series.
Women Who Love Them, Thug Matrimony, Justify My Thug, all these books.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's going on? So when I read the book, I was so impressed at the back of the book. Wahida Clark was the author, and it said that she did 10 years, but she also was a New York Times best-selling author from prison. And I'm like, I'm a little down because I just got 10 years.
Yeah.
But when I saw what she accomplished and she had 10 years, I was like, maybe I could try this. So I tried it. I would sit around with the girls, read them chapter, remember? Chapter after
Kima
chapter.
Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
What was the first book you ever wrote?
The first book I ever wrote was Kima and Lamar, A Ghetto Love Story.
And all these books got published and they
They're all
out on
published.
Amazon.
They're all out on Amazon
That's
right
dope.
now.
That's dope.
Yeah, and to see, those books come to fruition after being inspired by Wahida.
Yeah.
And then at the end of my bid, my actual editor of my books was like, "You remind me of a writer." And I'm like, "Who?" She said, "Wahida." I almost fell out. I'm like, this is the lady
that's
inspired me.
inspo for
and
real,
now me and
yeah.
her are like this.
That's
She's actually the
inspiration for
person that
real.
put my name out there to the producers to get me on American Gangster. Wahida did that.
Okay.
So
Oh, you
yeah,
did American Gangster too?
I did American Gangster.
How was that like? What was that like?
That was dope. I did American Gangster Track Queens on BET. They typically weren't gonna do a story like mine, but when they heard it,
Yeah.
they was like, "Oh nah, this is gangster." You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
I did the show. It was great.
Yeah.
And what's even doper is, not only did I do the show, but when you were asking about Pink Panther click,
Yeah.
I did the show. Jamila did the show.
Oh, it's all of y'all.
Brandy
That's
did the show. Wana was gonna do the show, but they canceled the last season. But they called her about it, so I'm like, damn, that's dope. Like the whole Pink Panther
Even though
clique
we're
is on
on together,
TV.
we
Yeah.
all
Yeah, that's
you know,
it still
separately
worked
did
out.
TV,
Yeah.
and
you know what I mean?
Damn,
she did VH1. So
That's fire, man.
mhm.
That's definitely dope. Doing that, right? Being that y'all entrepreneurs and y'all I believe y'all got your hands in different shit. Was it a little bit of fear? Like with the world getting ready to know y'all story and shit like that? Or like just fear of opportunities not or
Being
losing
available. Right.
losing opportunities because of y'all past, because that take courage to go out there and tell your story to the whole world. Like, obviously it is public documents. None of us, I mean, like, y'all entrepreneurs, so y'all don't plan on getting no 9 to 5, so obviously that wouldn't apply to y'all. But just to like say if y'all wanted to do something else, like any hesitant like
when I first, I'm not gonna front. When I first came home and I actually put, it's different with people knowing you went to prison, but when you actually acknowledge it, like I remember the first time, like my friends Aisha, Jamila, all of them was posting prison pictures and with these deep captions, and I just wasn't ready. Like I wouldn't mind them posting me in a picture with them in prison, but I just it's all on timing. You know what I mean? So when I finally was ready and I posted the picture of me being in prison and I posted a caption from my heart and how I really felt, it went viral. It went crazy, and it's just, I felt like a big relief. I felt so good that it was like a heavy weight off my shoulder.
Right.
Because it's like, everybody know I went to prison, but I never acknowledged it because I was just so like, it was weird. Like I just never acknowledged it. But once I did, it was easy.
Failure, maybe?
It did definitely feel like I felt like I failed,
Right.
but really I didn't fail. I won.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just that alone encouraged me and just encouraged me to tell my story.
Fire.
And it's like once I told the world and I kept, acknowledging my felt, like me not really felt because I didn't think I felt. Just like the situation that I've gone through, like I inspired mad people. VH1 was in my DMs, hit me up about being on a show just from a post. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to get over that, like just because you're going through a situation, that's not the end of it. That situation probably transpired for you to become better. You know what I mean? So that's definitely how I look at my situation and look at me going to prison. Because had I not gone to prison, most of the stuff I know right now, I would have never known. I was 18 years old when I went to prison, and I made a lot of money. And if I had that money now, I would have done better things with it. At that young age, I didn't know what to do with that money.
But don't
You know what I
forget
mean?
either, don't forget.
What?
I met you. Like, this is my bestest friend in
So
the
some
whole
good
world.
shit did come out of.
But, honestly, and I know this might sound crazy, but if that was going to be the purpose of it, I would do the bit again. That's how close we
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
Like, I came home, I had absolutely nothing,
Yeah.
and she really didn't have much. She's starting over too, but she might, in the beginning she was selling hair. She'd be like, oh, I sold some hair, I made $300 profit. Here go $100.
Yeah.
There's people, family that don't do that.
Yeah.
So
facts.
it was like the way we looked out for each other.
Yeah.
I know it came
Real.
from going through the mud like that in prison. Like, you got anything in your locker? All right, we're going to cook what we can. Commissary closed. Now we got to eat. Just that survival. Like,
right. And, it's just crazy because, having friends out here, they just never understand the bond.
Yeah.
But it's a different bond when you're in prison with somebody.
It is.
Like, literally, you go through all different type of emotions. You with this person 24/7,
Right.
shower, sleep, gym, walk the yard, whatever. Like, we did everything together. You know what I mean? And then, like, when she lost her father and she lost her brother and I lost my grandmother, my cousin, like, we seen... we just helped each other through all of those situations, and like that shit just definitely it made you, like, some of my friends like, damn, how y'all so close? Like, we are extremely close.
I think
That
I was
bond is
watching.
just different.
Not to cut you off. I think I was watching one of your lives one day, and I believe you was like, yo, she called you like, yo, I guess y'all was doing something. You was like, how much money you made today? And I guess it was a little less than her. And she gave you something like, yo, now we made the same amount or some shit like that.
Yeah, we always do that.
I can't forget that, right? That's accurate?
That's accurate.
That's dope. Like,
That's
shit like that,
accurate.
shit like that is
Or
real,
like, I got
man.
a song, like, it's a song I got out, and in the song I say, I just came home, I had to borrow Wana's shoes just to post on the gram, like, because I didn't have nothing. And she was like, her feet a little smaller than mine, but she was like, bitch, you gonna squeeze in there.
I said, listen, bitch, you got this show.
Yeah.
We gonna make this work. Your feet gonna hurt. It don't matter. It's gonna hurt for 30 minutes while you're on this stage. Figure it out.
and we aren't ashamed to share our story. And that's something that I think that's different right now. Like, we went away before the gram and all of that. Like, we just some real bitches. You know what I mean? And it's like, everybody tries to look rich. Everybody want to look successful. That's fine. But a lot of people don't have the grit to match it. So it's like, we've been through it. We got our stripes, and I'm not scared to talk about how dirty I had to get, how broke I went, how sad I was, how struggling I was, how much struggle there was. People just want to look like they at the top. And that's why sometimes, like, I'm not really big on brands, and some people don't realize, like, money and success is bigger than that. The real boys, I sat in a room with billionaires, and it's like, the look is not as important as, like, okay, like, you see a bag, but people, it be thin. My shit, you open it, you see all green, so I don't give a fuck if it's a freaking paper bag or it's a bag from the little corner store. What's more important to me is what's in it. You know what I mean? And as a rapper, it's important to have a look. Right? So this is where she balances me, because she's a fashionista. She's always been that way. So it's like, all right, boo, I know you know about this bag, but in this world, you got to make sure that the people, this is the language you got to speak. You got to speak the fashion language. So we balance each other out. You know what I mean? And it's different coming home after. It's just a new era. Like, the fake stuff, it's kind of hard to watch. Like, so I really stick to just her, because I really can't take the fakeness. I just can't. Like, I can't.
As far as what, like the people?
Just like the social media fakeness. Like, I never saw social media until I came home. So when I was away,
Did that fuck your head up when you came home?
What?
Like,
Crazy.
The whole technology shit.
And
after
it
10
put a lot of
years?
pressure on me, because when I came home, I didn't have nothing, but people knew my story. So people were looking for Aisha, the big boss, but Aisha was the big loss at the time. You know what I mean?
They took the feds took
they
everything.
took everything, all money, car, everything. They took. So it was like, people had these expectations of me, and here I am on social media. So I felt a little pressure to make sure that I met those standards, that the way people view me. And I realized the danger of social media. Like, it helped me, but it helped me, like, obviously get my brand up, help get my bread back. I'm not where I was, but legally I'm doing not bad,
Right.
But at the same time, it was like, the pressure was a little much in the beginning, because I wasn't used to, I'm like, damn, because I'm like, I know what I had to go through to get these M's. but
Yeah.
everybody got these M's because that's what social media make you think.
Yeah, that's what it
so
look
I'm
like, yeah.
why is it taking me so long? What am I not doing right? Until
Yeah.
I realized that people was fronting. And I was like, oh, okay. But it took a while for me to get used to that because, I'm really, when I see a look, I'm assuming that if you looking like how I was looking before I went away, you got it
some
like
money,
me.
yeah.
But that's not really the case.
Yeah.
And that was kind of difficult at first,
Yeah. So today, what's going on with y'all today? Like where y'all at? Mentally, in y'all career, etc. Like
So mentally, I'm doing well. I'm happy I was able to share my story on VH1 for my true crime story. It's narrated by Remy Ma. It came out last year.
Dope.
I'm just just the amount of people that I impacted. Just for my DMs, it's like so many that I can't even respond. And it's just like people are like, wow, like I'm so happy. Your story was just so inspiring. Like that alone makes me feel so good. You know what I mean? And just even in my business doing credit repair, that makes me feel amazing because it's like I'm actually giving somebody a second chance. Like you messed up your credit maybe when you were younger, but now you got a second chance. So now you could, and then and on top of that, we not only do we offer credit repair, but we offer people the financial literacy part of it, because
dope.
it's like we have people that come to us multiple times because they don't know what to do with their credit because you just don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we teach them exactly what to do with their credit, how to capitalize off their credit, how to leverage their credit. You know what I mean? So that alone, mentally makes me feel really good just because I'm able to help other people. You know what I mean? So I'm in a really good space in my life. I have a 4-year-old, and she's amazing.
Yeah.
Her father's amazing, and I'm good. I have great friends in my life. Aisha, my other friends, and just it's no drama, and everything is cool.
How did y'all master the whole credit repair and credit building and financial literacy thing?
So it's crazy how we started credit repair was one day just Aisha having like just a amazing like heart, like she's just a great person, and I picked up on that from day one, and she actually just came home and she was cool with a couple of girls and she promised them like, yo, when I get home and I get good, I'm gonna make sure y'all good, because I guess these people, they didn't have the support. So she wanted to make sure they was good. She just naturally that person. Like she'll give you before she have. Like she's just like that.
Yeah.
So she had like 5 Western Union sheets sending the girls money. She's like $40 here, $40. Like she barely didn't have the money.
Yeah.
So I'm like, damn, boo, like you sending $40 to 6 people, but you probably got $100 left in your pocket.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, like the transition from us coming home from prison was super hard. Like, we know that in prison, they gonna eat, they gonna make a way. But let's figure out a way to help them when they come home.
Right.
Like, when this girl coming home, she's like, she'll be home in like 6 months, she'll be home in a year. I'm like, yo, why don't we like fix their credit or something? Because she taught me how to fix my credit. So when I came home, I fixed my credit. I'm like, yo, let's fix their credit. So when they come home, they could like get some credit cards, start a business, basically do exactly what I did, like how I'm making a living. They could just take that blueprint, So she's like, you know what, we could do that. Wrote them, got their social, fixed all of their credit. Most of them doing extremely well now.
That's
one got a
dope.
beauty salon.
Shout out to that, man. Clap
so
it up for that too, man. Yeah, that's inspiring, yo.
So that's how we started. It was really something just to help. And then they started telling their spouse, their family, and then they started calling us. Then we like, shit, we gonna charge them to do it,
Yeah.
So we started
It's a
charging
whole
them.
business, yeah.
So before we even posted it on Instagram, it was just like a word of mouth type of thing. And we just started a whole company.
Wow.
And it just went from there. And the crazy thing is like, I'm like, yo, I used to do credit card fraud, and now I'm fixing people credit.
That shit is crazy.
You know what
Look
I
how
mean?
The universe work though.
It's crazy.
For real.
You really trust her because of that, because they know she know both sides of the game. It's actually helped our business.
Yeah, that's it.
Now there's something that we do in credit repair that no other company does.
Yo, you fucked my head up just now when you just said that. I she know both sides of the shit.
She know
like
both sides. So we actually use the shit that she did for fraud to help people. So somebody come to us and they're like, I'm gonna give away some game right now. Somebody
Free
come
game.
to us.
It's free game. It's free game time. It's
Yeah, that's the game. We gotta get
it's free
closer.
game time. I gotta hear this shit.
So somebody come to us like, yo, I have these items on my credit I need to remove. They negative, lates, whatever, collections. So I go to Wana. So Wana like, I got this. So Wana go on the dark web where she used to buy the information to do fraud. And she put their information in. And of course, all their information comes up.
Mm-hmm.
So what she does is take that information and send it to the credit bureaus and says, look, the information you reporting on my credit came from here, the dark web. How do you know that this information ain't come from them? Show me proof that it's from me and not them. Here's the proof that it's on the dark web. And they got to take it off because they can't prove the difference. So if somebody scam me, right, they're going to have everything. My social, my license, my address.
Yeah.
So you
We might
telling
gotta
me
cut that part out.
you
so.
reporting this. Nah,
Really?
this is something this is real stuff. This is when you go on the dark web, this is there. This is public information. That's why you have Identity IQ and all these companies. They're there to protect you. You ever get those emails that says your
Yeah.
information was found on the dark web?
Yeah, of course. I'm
Change your
familiar. I'm familiar with
password.
the dark web. Yeah, I'm familiar
change
with
your
it.
password.
Yeah, so it's
I'm
like
fam-
what she do,
So,
she'll pull the information and send it to the bureaus like, this person is basically, their information is out there. Show me why you believe that it's them that did this. We're not telling them yes or no. We telling the bureaus, you're the
Show
one that
me
reporting
proof.
it. The burden is on
so
you.
we ain't doing nothing wrong. You gotta prove that I.
You got to prove.
Yeah.
We're not
You know
saying
what I
that it
mean?
wasn't them.
Yeah.
We're just saying to prove.
To prove it.
Because my information has been compromised on the dark web. And
Yeah.
this is proof that it's been compromised.
So now proved. Okay. Wow.
In our course,
Free game.
in our course that we sell, we have a credit repair course that we sell.
Mhm.
We charge people $1,000 for it. And the value is there because we give them the websites to go to pull the information and send it to the bureaus. You know what I mean? So we show them how to do it, you know, because your information is out there. Make the bureaus who make money off of you, and the way that works, if your credit score is 600, and you're trying to get a car, you can get approved, but your interest rate going to be crazy.
Crazy high.
But if
Yeah.
your credit score is 750, your interest rate going to be low, right? So
Yeah.
what benefits the bank more? The high score or the lower score? The lower
The
score.
lower shit for
Because then
them,
that's how they
yeah.
make their interest.
Yeah.
If I can make $1,000 a month on you, opposed to making $10 a month, what am I gonna do? I want to make the 1,000.
Right. That's a
Who
fact.
determines if you make the 1,000 or not? The credit bureaus are the ones that report, so they're gonna be a little bit more reluctant to improve your credit. Because when they improve it, the banks that pay them lose money. We
Yeah.
give away the whole game of how
You know,
it all
and
works.
it's crazy because we also learned, and Aisha, you told me this actually, is that they basically score you on your zip code.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not supposed to,
Mm-hmm.
but there's redlining. Just like there's redlining when it comes to real estate and how they try to drive all people of color to one area.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with your credit. You learn that certain zip codes don't get approved for certain things, no matter what your score is. You know, so it's a whole scandal.
Is that
behind
legal?
Of course, it's not legal, but it happens.
If you know, you know though. They
You
they
know,
know.
you know.
A
It's
lot of people
patterns.
not.
It's patterns.
That's crazy. I never knew that in my
So
life.
you could be somebody living in Brooklyn with the same exact thing as somebody living in Hollywood.
And you won't get approved.
No, you'll have the same exact thing on your credit,
Yeah.
but this credit may be 805 and this one may be 710.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all got the same exact thing, same utilization, same everything. You just live in two different zip codes.
That's wild. So you wrote a book called Larry. What's the name?
Larry
The Linden Lion.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah, yeah.
based on credit and
Yes, teaching kids
teaching
about credit.
kids.
Mhm.
What inspired? I brought 100 copies of those. That book was
you
genius,
definitely
man.
Did. Shout out to you for
I had
that.
to get
And
those
gave
books
it
out.
away.
Yeah, I had to
that
get
was
those
dope.
books out to the hub
Oh,
because
that was dope.
yeah, because we deprived of certain information, man. We've been deprived of certain information for so long. That shit is like,
And it's
so when
not
I
by
seen
accident, you know.
it's
so.
not like, cause I feel like when I seen you on a live talking about that book and what it was teaching, I'm like, yo, I gotta get this out. Like, there's
That
no
was
way
dope.
these
That was
there's
dope.
no way these kids not supposed to know this, man.
Mm-hmm.
You feel
And
what I'm
I'm
saying?
actually partnering right now. I'm working on it. We're in the works of a partnership with M&T Bank
Mm-hmm.
For that book?
for that book.
Wow, congrats on that.
Yeah,
What
so we're
inspired
working on that.
that? Besides like
Um,
What made you want
Just wanting to, and it rhymes, right? And I'm a
Yeah,
rapper,
the whole book.
so
The
I
whole
wanted
book.
to take-
Did you bring one?
I didn't bring it.
Damn.
We were
Left it right
rushing.
on the counter. I left my
Yeah.
book, her book.
Yeah, I know. You wrote a book, Swiped.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
That's going crazy. That's been going crazy and shit.
Yeah, definitely.
We're gonna get into that too.
Mhm.
But
yeah, that book was I wanted something they
You
could
wrote that
remember.
during quarantine too, right?
No, actually, I wrote that when I was away.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
That
I wrote
was
it when
a-
I was
that
away.
was
I still have the
genius,
original
man.
True Links. Thank you. Thank you.
Lord, so you said you wanted to do something.
I wanted to do something that would stick. So I
Okay.
know how kids remember things when it rhymes. So the book, it's like early every morning, Larry Gladdy wakes up, he brushes his mane, puts on his chain, gets inside his truck. Like, it's easy to remember.
Yeah.
And I go into interest. The characters, Hippo Hector the tax collector. He collects money from businesses everywhere because these are all things that we have to share. Like, they remember. So
Yeah.
it's easy to recollect, And I know that we have poor relationships with money.
Yeah.
When you sitting at home growing up, almost all of us can say that. These fucking bills, we see our parents or whoever always having a negative energy with money. I'm broke. Mom, we gotta go to the store. I ain't got no money for that. It's
Yeah.
always negative.
All right. Just so for those that don't know about the book, could you elaborate a little bit? Because I forgot. Could you elaborate the name of the book and what it teaches kids and the ages where the kids can understand what
Okay,
age
sure.
what age friendly is it?
So it's called Larry the Lending Lion.
Mhm.
It's written by me, Aisha Hall. You can find it on Amazon. But the book is for anywhere from 5 to 12 years old.
Mhm.
Some adults say they benefited from it. But the book
sure.
rhymes, and it's about Larry, a lion who owns a penny bank. And for every penny that he lends out, you have to give him back 10 pennies. So the interest is high.
Mhm.
And the animals were borrowing pennies, but a lot of them couldn't pay it back. And the town started to just kind of go down. And the animals who did pay back, they would make references to them having good credit. The animals who did pay back, they said, I paid back with interest. There were animals who did not know what interest was. Well, what's interest? And he broke it down.
Yeah.
Interest is when every penny I give you, you have to pay back 10. Interest is when you pay me more than what I originally want to lend or whatever, something like that.
We need visuals on this, Aisha, man.
Yeah.
We need cartoon visuals on
Yeah,
this.
I'm working
That's
on
in the
that. I'm
works,
working on
yeah.
that.
All right,
So
great
the
minds thinking like I
and
can't.
everything.
plays are coming,
Yeah.
The plays are coming.
I'm excited
The
about that,
cartoon
man.
is coming. The video game
They
is
not
coming.
teaching this shit in
So,
school. They not teaching these kids this.
They're not. But we're going
At
to teach
all.
it.
Yeah.
We can't leave what our children learn up to the schools. You know what I
Right.
mean? Parents got to take responsibility. Schools, YouTube, these things are raising the kids right now. You got to
Yeah.
take the time and teach your children this stuff because
Yeah.
there's the reason why these markets profit the way they do is because they know we don't know. So the
Right.
schools are run by the same people that run the banks. All this stuff is the same thing. So why am I going to teach you how to be my op? You know what I mean? I even tell people when I speak about like civil rights. Oh, I want to go in this restaurant and I want to be able to eat wherever with everybody else. Oh, I want to drink from this water fountain. Whites, blacks. No, I want to eat and use the bathroom where everybody else eats. I want to go to this school where everybody else goes. And those white folks at the time said, sure, we'll lift those bans,
Yeah.
but they never let us into the financial world. One thing that never impacted, the civil rights movement was banking. That's one arena they kept us out of. He said, we're going to give these niggas access to this, and that, but we're going to keep them out the banks because that's how we'll maintain control. And if you go through any hood, how many banks you ever see that's a black bank? We got Carver Bank. We got a couple of them, maybe like 3. But the majority of the banks, you see what happened with Kanye.
Yeah.
Kicked him out the bank. There's not too many black banks you could run to. We
Yeah.
don't have control over finances. And he who controls the money is the God.
Right.
So we don't have control of our money and we don't even understand it.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's like we have a long way to go with that,
We don't. So, but at the same time, we don't even know that we don't understand money until we get like a substantial amount of it too, like to learn it. Or where do we
That's
even
when you
go
really
to?
see that you don't understand it. Because a lot of times, what do? We lose it.
Yeah.
You know?
But where do we go to learn these things? Like, it's never in front of us. You know what I'm saying? You got to be fortunate. You got to be real fortunate to get financial literacy. Nobody just goes and pick up a book and say, yo, let me learn. It's rare, right?
It's
That's the
crazy,
problem because
That's
we
what
can, but and
What-
not to
you don't know what you don't know, though.
You don't know what you're looking for. If you don't know, you don't
That's-
really know
you
what
don't
to
know-
look for.
you understand?
Like
Right.
I didn't understand until like when I came home and I realized how much money I had that I lost. I'm like, damn. I was young, but had I understood money and the things I could have done with my money and flipped it, I would have came home and been good, you know?
But that's why
It's
we're
just-
doing what we're doing. So
Mhm.
everybody could complain about it, but it's like we know this and we have the knowledge. So let me take the first step. Let me create this book because everybody could talk about what's wrong, but I always tell people especially who criticize us, it's like, okay, you got all the problems, but what have you done to help? So when anytime I speak, I always speak positive about us as a people.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you could talk this and that, but what have you done? This is what I've done. I sat my black ass down and wrote a book in very, very basic terms to help teach young people about money. What did you do? So I never really talk to people who criticize. You know, I like to talk to people who's like, what can I do?
What's the biggest thing we don't know about money that everybody should know?
I think one of the biggest things that people don't understand about money is that borrowed money is just as useful as earned money. And that most of the wealth in this country did not come from somebody going to a job or getting a degree or standing outside in the hot sun holding up the flag and being construction work, whatever they do.
Yeah.
Money comes from borrowed money,
Loans.
loans.
This is why when you know, white people
Yeah.
with their children, when they're super young, they add them as an authorized user to their cards. You know what I mean? So by the time when they 18, their score is 800. We not doing that. You know?
It's the opposite. You know how many people come to us that's 19, 20, and we pull their credit for the first time, and they got all these negative items?
Yeah, they
I'm
have
like, wait,
cable
It's,
bills.
it's opposite
I'm
with us.
like,
Yeah.
wait,
yeah.
what?
There's cable bills.
Yeah.
They have
phone bill.
Phone bills.
Yeah.
We using their credit.
And they
They're
do the
building.
opposite, right?
Mhm.
But like you said, you know, it's lack of knowledge.
It is.
You know, but this is what we're dealing with, and this is why literacy is so important. And shout out to, like, for example, like Glorilla, you know.
Yeah.
But I heard her say in a song, I don't care about credit. I'm like, oh,
Right, yo.
why?
Yeah.
You know what's crazy?
You
They
know?
was posting this. They was like, Juana and Aisha ain't gonna say this. Why?
Yeah,
Why
because
you
it's
why
like-
you saying shout out Glow though? What about her?
You know, she's a female artist. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah, just like, you know, before I say something that's like,
Oh, okay. Oh,
right,
right.
you know, I'm gonna
Yeah,
say
okay.
something positive, you know,
Okay.
because I don't know her personally.
Okay, yeah.
But, you know, if I could get some of these people who are so influential in a room, I would just kind of be like, yo, like,
Yeah.
please try to be responsible for what you say.
Yeah.
Because next thing you know, you'll have a whole bunch of young girls like, fuck that credit shit, you know, just
Yeah.
following behind. So I think that it's important that credit is important. When you go through New York City and you see these big skyscrapers and you see all
Yeah.
these buildings, nobody took cash and wrote a check.
Right.
That's coming from things like SBLOC, standby letters of credit. This is where these are forms of credit bigger than credit cards. These are coming from bank instruments,
Right.
you know what I mean, that are different than, you know, just money in a bank account. There's high level credit that's used to purchase billion-dollar transactions, you know, billion-dollar situations.
Yeah.
So we don't even know anything about that. You know, bank guarantees and all these other terms that most people have never heard of.
Right.
You know what I mean? And what is a bank guarantee? People don't know. What is a MT 755 or 760? People don't know this language. What is the SWIFT? What is the SWIFT system? What is that? People don't understand that. But it's all credit. So while our families are teaching us, go get a job, and you only have two things that are of value in life, and that's time and energy. Two things you can't get back.
Right.
If I'm putting all my time into slaving for crumbs, the same person could get what you made in your whole lifetime in 5 minutes by keeping their credit good and getting a loan, you know,
Yeah.
and then flipping that loan.
Right.
Because if you got $10 million that you earned, you know, through business, cool. But I could get that same $10 million in a loan and buy the same thing you could buy.
Right.
So that's really one of the most misunderstood things about money, I think.
The 3 forbidden rules when it comes to being an entrepreneur. Like 3 forbidden rules. Like, so if I'm working a 9 to 5, right? And I was talking to y'all, listen, I want to start my own business tomorrow. What is 3 things you'll tell me I got to get rid of?
The idea that you're going to make it the first go round. Get rid of the idea that failure is bad. There's no teacher like that. You got to hit the bottom to really understand how things work sometimes.
Right.
You know, that's one thing. So get the notion out of your head that that the only way that you're going to be successful is if you don't fail. That's a big misconception. That's one thing. You got another thing that I would say as an entrepreneur don't do. And this is something that we learned.
Yeah.
Don't take on too much debt without having a plan to flip it. When you become a business owner, you're gonna get a lot of offers, like for credit.
You have employees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll have staff, different things.
Okay.
Make sure that before you take a loan, you have a plan to flip it for your business. That's number 2. I don't know if you have a third one. We got a lot of experience with this.
No, we do. You know,
and
definitely.
the 3,
You know.
So how about the must-haves to be an entrepreneur? What qualities should you have? Mandatory, no getting around it when you trying to be an entrepreneur or you stepping into that entrepreneurial field.
Definitely have a business plan. You know, write down, structure your business. That's the most important thing.
Right.
Definitely structuring your business, because if you just go with the flow, it's not gonna work.
Right.
You're gonna be all over the place. Definitely structure your business.
I think that's why a lot of businesses is failing now, because it's so trendy now to be an entrepreneur. So I think people is just doing things, no real research or due diligence and shit like that. No real planning or understanding whatever market it is that they entering. Feel what I'm saying? You feel like that? Like it's everything is just like you see some. All right, so everybody, you get on social media, everybody on the business, everybody selling something, lashes, whatever it is. Niggas is rap, like whatever it is, because it's the thing to do now. Like it's the new cool
Well, you know,
thing.
we I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
It's the go ahead.
I'm sorry. We were like in probably a year in when we sat down and really structured our business. That wasn't the right thing to do, but we came into the business not even knowing we was going to get into that business.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then
Y'all's almost happened like by accident.
Kind of by accident,
Yeah.
you know? It's like that was like our calling, you know, because, and it just got so big, just so quick. You know, we just had a lot of people like hitting us up, and it just became more than what we can handle just with us two. It became crazy. So we had to sit down, restructure everything, hire employees, just like fix everything up, you know? So we had to take about 2-3 weeks off and really get everything lined up, you know? But that's why I said definitely have a business plan and structure your business. And don't start a business because you see your friend starting a business and because you just gonna waste money.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like definitely, like if you could make a lot of money. You take it serious, you could make a lot of money. It's not gonna be easy, but you could make a lot of money.
Do you think what do you think is the hardest part about starting a business? Or
Well, for me, I can say from experience, I would say my ego, right? Because and that's something I had to overcome. And a lot of people have to overcome that. Sometimes you gotta be your own secretary. Sometimes you gotta be your own cleaning lady. Sometimes you gotta be your own office manager. Sometimes you gotta be your own whatever.
you gotta wear every hat.
Yeah, and coming from a successful background and feeling like I had already made it. I made millions of dollars to have started over and not in the beginning be able to just hire everybody to do every little thing. Had to really humble myself. You know, and a lot of people feel like they bigger than what they are. They don't want to go through those growing pains. I had already gone through it, so I didn't feel like going through it again. But I realized that I would fail if I didn't. And I had to overcome my ego, you know, and I'm not afraid to say that, you know, like, I thought I was a bad bitch.
You know,
like,
it was times where we have 4 employees and they making more money than us, you know, after business expenses, we're paying our employees. Then Aisha and we're not left with nothing, you know what I mean? So it's definitely a learning experience. And I feel like as a business owner, you learning something new every day. Right. You know what I mean? And just to piggyback what she said, it's extremely important to be a secretary. You know, you have to play every position, every role in your company, every single role. Like even when I had my hair company, when I first came home, you know, I was the model. I was doing videos. I was doing the orders, you know, fulfilling the orders. I was doing every single thing, you know, and that's what you have to do. You know, you have to start somewhere. People just want things to just be overnight success. It don't work like that.
People, I think it's because especially us, like hustlers, and we come from the streets and whatever we was doing, getting that fast money. Niggas used to that instant gratification.
And then the internet don't make it look better. And people think, this business, oh wow, they just blew up. No, they didn't blow up. It's like, listen, ground up.
Oh, do y'all plan on doing like a documentary, like with y'all too, like how y'all started and shit like that?
We got things in the work. Like we got people coming to us about things.
And I'm actually like, and this is why I always like, shout out my friend too, because it's like,
I'm happy I did y'all two like this too.
Yeah, I'm like, when he said he was gonna do it separate, I was like, what you mean? We come as a pair. You see my face, right? I was like,
I'm like, yo, damn.
I said, you can't figure this out.
I'm like, yo, damn, I gotta do it. Once you said it, I'm like, I gotta do it. I can argue with them all day. We gotta cater to you, man. We gotta cater to y'all.
But I did American Gangster. Cool. She was there to support me, and then just off of her good energy, here comes VH1 to her. She get her own shit. Now she do the show, but while she's sitting in the room with VH1, she's like, y'all don't know my friend? They like, no. You don't know Aisha Hall? Well, you need to know her. You need to call her. Right. She needs to do this show. So she did her show. Everything went good. Boom. And now a whole, year and a half later, they call me. So they like, yo, we want you to be on that show too. So now I'm about to do my second show. But that's because I have somebody in my life who's not afraid to mention my name in a room. You know what I mean? So now I'm doing it again.
That's fire.
That also led to, shout out to Marquand. I don't know if you know Marquand. He's actually the producer, the creator, Godfather of Harlem.
I'm familiar with this show. I don't know who.
Yeah, he's dope.
Yeah.
He's a dope dude. And he, I was introduced to him by my friend Driss, and then he took me to Mass Appeal, and we're doing a scripted series on my life.
Okay.
It's like Queen of the South meets Billions, so I'm excited about that. That's in progress right now.
Congrats on that too, man.
Oh, and shout out, I have to shout out Ghostface, you know what I mean? Because
somebody had a question for you too in regards to that too.
Well, let me hear the question first before
what's it like? How basically how you so in tune with so many different eras and generations? Because they said they seen you with Fabio, and then you also connected to
Fabio.
Great question.
And then you also connected to Ghostface. So how is that like, and how you so connected with like in the different generations?
You know what? Just being real. I'm not trying to be nothing that I'm not. I'm not no 25-year-old rapper. I'm not trying to be.
Yeah.
I stick to my lane. If you hear my music, I come from that era, and you hear it in the sound. I didn't try to change it up. And I think that, it allows me to be respected from everybody.
Right.
I could sit in a room with corporate people, and they respect me in my mind. I could sit in a room with killers. And they respect me.
Yeah.
I could sit in a room with anybody from any generation, because I don't hate on no generation.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, this generation is different than what I'm used to, but I still respect their creativity and what they're trying to do. The other generation, they respect my realness. And I think that it's just being real and not trying to be something that I'm not.
That's dope. That was a great answer, too. Fear, procrastination, y'all. What's worse?
Fear or procrastination?
Oh, honestly, for me, I would say procrastination.
Wow.
It took me, as a Libra, indecisive, it leads to procrastination. Like, I procrastinate with a lot of stuff, and I think about, like, the what ifs, and like, but what if this don't work? Or what if, nah, fuck that, try it. It may work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not it may work, it will work. You just have to keep that energy that it will work. And if it don't work, try again.
Yeah.
So I'm still learning today. I'm still learning how not to procrastinate, but when it comes to fear, I think that I've never really been afraid. Because with me, like, even when it comes to, like, while I went to prison and stuff, every time I do something, I think about the consequences. I'm like, can I handle the consequences? If the consequences is going to mean for me to go to jail for about a year or two, fuck it, I'm going to do it. That's really how I think.
That's crazy. That's
about
a good way of thinking, though.
I be
People don't think about the consequences first.
They don't. That's why there's so many snitches.
I really
That's a
think
fact.
about the consequences first.
That's a fact.
So if it's a situation and I'm like, do I want to do, okay, this is the consequence. Am I willing to deal with the consequences if it happened?
Yeah.
If I'm not going to do it. If
Right.
I am, then I'll do it. That's just how I move. I always been like that. Probably why I went to jail so many times. So fuck that. The consequences gonna be a year in jail. I can handle it. Like I really think like that to this day.
What you think, Aisha? What's
For
worse,
me-
fear or procrastination?
For me, it's fear.
Why is that?
Because scary people are dangerous people. People who have a lot of fear. You could be a genius, but if you're scared, procrastination to me is better than not doing it at all. Procrastinators is doing it slow.
Right.
But a fearful person might not do it at all.
Right. Okay.
And if you're just so scared of failing or you're so scared of what people are gonna think,
Mhm.
fear is a real devil because it will keep you from all your blessings. I could put something right here for you that's gonna change your life.
And you
And
scared
if
to
you're
get
scared,
it.
it's
Yeah.
like, it's all
Yeah.
for naught. So I think fear is worse. But fear also is a good thing for some people. And it should have been there for me because I'm not really scared of nothing. I think one of the main things you say to me is, "Boo, you crazy."
Yeah.
That's one of her famous lines. Because I don't have no fear.
No.
Yeah.
I really I know that the bigger the risk, the better the reward. And sometimes I need a balance check because I really don't have no fear.
Right.
This
of
is why we
nothing.
a great team.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
balance each other out.
Yeah, I definitely
Because
do.
I don't have no fear. And it's like, But sometimes fear is good. But no fear at all could be a bad thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, but too much fear, I think, is worse than procrastination
Okay.
because it stops you.
It stops you, definitely.
Right. Good. That's definitely. Both of y'all had some great answers. As entrepreneurs, could y'all date a guy that
No.
has a 9 to 5?
No, absolutely not. I'm sorry.
Why not?
We just
Here you go, boo.
You don't think you could date
know-
a guy that got a regular job or
Mm.
a good job?
What's a good
what's a good job?
Hold on, that's like a cheating. Can you date a?
I can't date a guy that has a 9 to 5
Why is that?
because it's like you have not experienced what I experienced. Your check every week is going to be the same. We need to hustle together. You need to understand me. When I'm frustrated, you need to understand what I got going on. Like,
So so a person with a 9 to 5 can't possibly understand what an entrepreneur is going through. You don't think so?
I mean, I can tell you, but you haven't experienced it. So I think experience is the best teacher.
Right.
You know what I mean? So not really.
Okay.
I just want my man who I'm with or who I'm married to be an entrepreneur.
You're right.
We could be in two different fields, but I want you to come home and we talk about these clients and how they get on your damn nerves or, and not your boss. I don't want to hear about your boss.
Yeah.
I want to talk to the boss. I
Yeah.
want, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's just how I feel.
How you feel about that?
I feel it's pretty much the same. I mean, sometimes, especially with guys having an ego, if I'm an entrepreneur, and I have a good year, I make a couple M's, and you have a job, even if you make, people think 100, 200,000 is a lot. My goals for the month can't be what you make for the year because we're not going to be able to align with our goals.
Right.
If I have children, I want them to be entrepreneurs. I want them to be independent. And I think that the biggest thing the pandemic taught people is you can't rely on no job. When all these companies closed, people saw like, what I'm going to do?
Rich dad, poor dad.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think this is why when you spoke about entrepreneurs and everybody starting a business, I think when people were forced to survive without a job, people realized like I was kind of a slave, So now I think people are desperate to figure it out on their own, and become their own merchant.
Right.
But
the pandemic spoiled you niggas though. They was just giving out money, man.
Not to cut y'all off, but
After a while,
Yeah.
no,
in the beginning, it wasn't
definitely.
like
Right.
Like
Right.
when we're on live and we talk to, our followers and stuff, because we so in tune with them,
Yeah.
A lot of them, like we talk about this, like, entrepreneurship and being, working for a company and having a job or whatever. We encourage them like, okay, if you're not everybody want to be or can be a business owner.
Right. That's a fact.
But we encourage them to like, have a little hustle on the side.
Yeah.
Don't just depend on your job.
Or be an investor. You don't have to have a business to make outside money. You know, it don't have to be like you have a business.
Right. That's why we have the credit repair course, and we're like, listen, learn this business, do it for your family. You know, even if you charge a couple hundreds, that's a couple $100 extra that you was never gonna think about because you depending on his salary that you make the same exact amount every week. How can you survive with the same exact amount of money every single week or every other? You know what I mean?
All right, so now it's a flip side to it.
Wait, but would you ask? You ever hear what's Kanye and Jay-Z song?
What?
What's a man to a king? What's a king to
Yeah.
a god? You know, so it's like, would you ask? You look at a god, right? And you would assume that they would affiliate with other gods. You look at a
Right.
king, you figure that they will affiliate with other high-ranking people.
Right.
And then you look at the average person. So it's like you look at Hollywood. Everybody on the gram that's somebody that's an actor, they with other actors or other rappers. Why? Because we speak the same language.
Right.
You know, when you try to commingle somebody who gets up and works every day and collects a check, who's not in control of their money, because once you set a salary, that's it. With somebody who has sky's the limit, the mentality is you're vibrating at two different wavelengths.
Right.
And it can work, I guess, with some people sometimes, but especially being a female.
Right.
You know, not to cut you off, but I think, and you spoke about this, I could speak about it. Even with your marriage, your ex, you know, it was the same. He was working, and she was trying to have a $1 million business company. You know what I mean?
He couldn't understand that.
It was like a timing difference because now, like, a hustler understands a hustler.
Right.
He's like, you know, the table is set for dinner. He off of work at 5. You know, sometimes he would cook 6:30. He ready to eat. Shit, 6:30. I'm just getting started. You know, like with the West Coast market.
Yeah.
You know, it's midday for them. And you know, when I'm in the office till 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, I don't need you blowing up my phone.
Right.
Unless you coming to help me blow up this business. You know what I mean? So he didn't understand the hustle at the time. He does now. You know, he's got his own business and stuff. He's like, I get it. You know, I see. But back then it was like, yo, I'm on the grind. I'm putting in this work now so we could retire at 30, 35.
Right.
You know, so he didn't really understand, and that's actually what ended the marriage.
So what happens when? Because there's a flip side of this, and I like both of y'all answers. What happens when you got two entrepreneurs in the house, bills is due, tuition is due for your kids or whatever the case may be, and these businesses is not working? Would you appreciate the guaranteed money from the person
the
that's
house that I'm living in and the cars that I'm driving? The job wouldn't have been able to pay for that anyway. So that wouldn't have helped.
No,
me.
middle class
serious.
family.
No, but you know what? Like for Aisha, now we don't get emotionally attached to no business. If a business ain't working, we're gonna move on to the next thing. We're gonna figure out what else is popping. Are we gonna before it even get that bad, we already moving on to something else.
Right.
I'm not emotional. Like I'm attached and I love helping people, but if this credit repair shit stop working for me today, then it's over. We on to something
That's
else.
something we left off when we were giving advice.
Yeah.
Always have multiple streams.
Multiple streams.
So as entrepreneurs, we write books, we do credit repair, we do financial literacy, we do public speaking, we creating and developing apps. We have 7, 8 cars we put on Turo that we rent out. We do Airbnb. We do it all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we got 7, 8 businesses. 4 are slow. We know we got another 4 that can hold us down for a little while. So part of entrepreneurship in this time is diversity. You know what I mean? If you look at the Forbes list of billionaires, most of their career
7, 8 streams of income.
They say diversified investor. Diversified investor.
Too many to name. Like
I mean, you got billionaires that what's his name just took the biggest loss in the history of losses. What's his name? Elon Musk. Just took the biggest loss in history. You know, the guy that owned Bed Bath and Beyond or whatever, he just killed himself. Took a $1 billion loss. So that whole concept that people don't really understand about business.
The guy too.
Oh yeah.
I think he killed himself.
No, he died.
Yeah.
One of the guys died. But it's like things happen. Crazy Trump. He didn't file bankruptcy how many times? You know, so people have this is why I say we don't really understand money. A lot of people think entrepreneurship equals success, or entrepreneurship, what do you do when it goes down? The part of entrepreneurship that people need to have is that multiple stream.
Right.
Because business will slow down. I
That's
don't
a
care.
fact.
Rolex has their slow season.
That's a
Walmart
fact.
has their slow season. These are billion-dollar companies.
Mhm.
Nobody's above a slow season. Nobody. So
Definition of a leader and what it takes to be a good leader.
So, my definition of it is I feel like if me being a leader, if I could help somebody else become a leader like me and put somebody else in the same situation, the same position that I'm in, then I feel like I'm really a leader. Like I'm teaching you what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm putting you in
That's a
position.
fact.
That's a leader. That's a boss.
That's
That's
a
the,
fact.
you know what I mean? That's what I feel.
Oh, wow, that's dope. For me, a definition of a leader is a former follower. You know what I mean? I feel like you got to be a soldier, then you got to be the general, then you could be
Levels.
the king or queen, the leader,
Yeah.
A lot of people want to just go straight to the top. I don't really have as much respect for people who are successful or leaders that have not been in the field. You got to be in the field. There's nothing like being in the field. It
At all.
teaches you grit, grind.
Facts.
It teaches you and it gives you a different respect. And people
taught me
respect
that.
you different.
You taught me that. Remember the business we started with,
Oh, yeah,
Sunil?
yeah.
And I'm like, damn, my show just aired on VH1.
Yeah.
And I'm out here with these
Well, let me
tablets
tell
or
them what
doing
it is, what we
COVID.
doing.
Yeah.
So, we work, shout out to Sunil, shout out to them.
You
And that's
told me
another
about
thing.
this too.
Yes, hit us up. Like if you get any type of government assistance and you're eligible for free internet, tablet, and a device for 5 years, a Wi-Fi
we
device.
just did an event with Jim Jones.
Fire.
And, Jim Jones gave
Get
out
ready to do one with
tablets, and
Favi.
we're doing one with Fabio. So
Yeah, we're working on that now. But anyway, it's funny because, Shawana's show just aired, so she famous. Everywhere we go, Shawana. Everybody I saw you on TV. So she, hey girl. So when the tablet thing came out, we had to get in the field and learn the game. So we stand
but
outside.
that's one thing about us. Like when we start something, don't matter what it is, we want to test it out so we could be able to teach you from all avenues. Like just
That's dope.
what if this happened? So us going out in the field was just so we could freezing. Yeah.
We got tablets.
Like we're trying to create a
Like
team.
bean pies. We outside.
Yeah, we're trying to create a team, so we want to experience what they may experience, so we'll be able to teach them.
Right.
Right. So when we outside doing that, a couple people recognized us. Boo, like, damn,
I can't do
I
this.
don't know if I could do this. I'm out here like I'm hustling on the corner.
Yeah.
And I'm big boss Warner. It look a little crazy. And I'm like, listen, fuck it. Who cares? We gotta learn this business. We gotta understand how it works. We gotta go in the field. And who cares? I think people will respect us more.
People respect. They want to see that gritty shit anyway.
But it was like, Wana is her name on the gram was Wana Got Class. You see, this
No,
is
but listen,
and
this
Wana
is
was
why
not ready to be.
This is why I said choose your company wisely. You know what I mean? Like I have a friend who I know she want the best for me. She not anything she say is not no hating shit. It's just always gonna be to uplift me.
Yeah.
That's why I said like your company is extremely important. Like. And what she says, I listen to. I'm like, you know what, boo, you right. You know what I mean? She thinking about the future.
Yeah.
Like this being outside for a week,
Yeah.
we about to make thousands, hundreds of $1,000s from this company if we do it the right way. So we got to get our feet wet a little bit.
That's
you
why
know what I
said
mean?
The ego.
The ego,
It's a big thing to get over.
Yeah.
Here we are. And I'm very, very, probably too humble, as people say.
Super humble.
But I'm very humble. But, I'm pretty well known. And it's like, my ego could have stopped me from doing that. But I had to overcome that.
What if we both would have been like, you know what? Yeah.
Then we would have missed out on opportunities. You know what I mean? So
that was a good lesson for both of y'all too, man. That was good advice.
we was out there
you
with
gave her.
scrubs on doing COVID testing. We had the COVID testing permit.
Oh no, that.
Y'all gotta start bringing the camera around everywhere with y'all.
Let
They
me
just want to
tell
see
y'all
this shit though, for real.
something.
Like,
no,
even when-
seriously.
Remember that guy?
That's what I was about to talk about.
Oh, God.
We was doing COVID testing and
in Harlem.
in Harlem in the projects. And my friend took the stick, put it up his nose, and when it came out, the shit was black.
What you was
And,
doing?
and I'm sitting there.
She was like,
What he was doing?
It was bad. I was like,
She
boo,
was like,
okay,
I'm done
now
with
we
this.
getting the fuck
I'm
out of
done.
here. I said we gotta go.
But guess what? We turned around and made a lot of money
A
in that
lot of
business.
money with COVID. So everybody was sick and we was making the money on the other end.
That's right. We do need a camera to follow us around because we be doing some
go
crazy shit.
Yo, it's bad. It's crazy.
All right, so if y'all could tell y'all younger self something, 18-year-old, Warner got class, 18-year-old Aisha Hall, what would it be?
Go with the flow. You know what I mean? Don't there's no wrong to anything that you trying to do in your life. You know what I mean? Just do it, learn from your mistakes, and do better after you make that mistake.
Right.
You know, it's really no right or wrong way to anything. There's no manual to life, you know. So just do you, learn from that mistake, and do it better the next time.
That was a great answer.
Mm-hmm. For me, I would tell my 18-year-old self, slow down. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
don't be so fast to be so grown. You know, I was married at like 21. I was just doing so much stuff, you know, and I really didn't get to enjoy my younger years. And I had no idea that they would be clipped by going to prison. I went from prison 25, 35, you know,
Yeah.
that's your best years. I was away, and I didn't really get to do anything. And I feel like maybe when I was 18 and 19, you know, maybe I should have slowed it down a bit and enjoyed life and youth more. So I definitely would tell my younger self to slow down and just enjoy being young, you know?
Yeah.
I definitely would have said that.
Fire. So my last question is, what do y'all want young girls to take from y'all stories, from y'all whole journey? Like,
I would definitely say, you know, do what you want to do, you know, what makes you happy, what makes you comfortable doing. Don't do something because you see a friend doing it. You know, if you could live with yourself doing whatever it is, then do it. You know, everything that I've done in my life, I could live with it. I've owned up to it. I did my time for it. I came home. I'm a better person. I learned from my mistakes. You know what I mean? So I would definitely tell someone that age to do what makes you happy, what's in your heart. If it's good for your heart and you can live with it, do it.
Fire.
And I would say, sweetheart, you don't know yourself yet. You don't know who you are yet. You know, a lot of us, you know, and I did, and I'm sure Juana did, we thought we knew so much. But you're not a young woman. You're not a woman yet to the young women, you know. You don't know who you are yet. Don't make decisions that are life-changing decisions before you know who you are and what you want. Like, live a little bit, know a little bit more about yourself before you lock yourself into things, you know, businesses. Experiment, go in with an open mind. Relationship, don't lock yourself in with these niggas. They don't know who you are because you don't know who you are yet.
Right.
You know, enjoy life and, you know, learn that it's okay to not have all the answers yet. You know, take that from our story because we kind of made a lot of decisions, big yell decisions before we were in the position to really know what we were doing. So take that from us and just take your time, you know.
That was great answers. Hey, yo, it's definitely been a pleasure, man. Thank y'all, man. I can't.
Thank you for having us.
I'm not
this
gonna
is
lie.
so dope. Like,
thank you. I
first
appreciate
podcast
that.
on Will. Like, this whole concept is amazing.
Yeah,
shout out to you for that.
Shout out to y'all, man. This interview was definitely insightful. Like I said, it's the first female guest of My Train of Thoughts. This is going down in history. Very, very legendary, man. Thank you, man. Hey, yo, we forgot to mention. Well, she did mention she got some music on the way. Got some. I think.
Well, let me just say this about my music, right?
Yeah.
I do music because I love it.
Yeah.
I don't do music trying to get rich. I'm a businesswoman. I make my money in my business. I do music because I have a natural talent.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the music, sometimes I don't mention it first because it's just part of who I am. It's just what I do.
Right.
But for those that
it's a passion.
That don't
it's
know,
just a passion.
Ain't a bitch in New York who can see me with bars. So I'm just saying.
Like, we gonna have to.
Yeah, that's true.
You second that? We gonna let's see. We gonna play. What's this? 100?
Oh,
we gonna play 100?
I mean, I sent you the other one.
All right, let me play the other one. I got one more question for you too. So we got 100 by Aisha Hall. Let's go.
Yeah, it's your girl Aisha. Always keeping it official, always keeping it 100. Let's go. 1 0 0 1 0 0 100.
It's happening, y'all. Trust me, it's happening.